Imagine living in a world where by being in a same-sex relationship, you can be punished by up to 10 years in prison, or even worse, death by stoning. In countries like Jamaica and Brunei, a country in Asia, this is a very real scenario. In this speech, I'm going to shed some light on the discrimination that many members of the LGBT community faced and in some places still do. I will discuss the ex-gay movement, Commonwealth countries and laws and or association with the LGBT community, and the emotional stress within the youth of the LGBT community. The ex-gay movement began in the early 1970s when the American Psychiatric Association stopped classifying homosexuality as a mental disorder. This movement is mostly made up of evangelical Christians, and in the article, Genocide Intentions, Social Death and the Ex-Gay Movement by Sue E. Spivey and Kristen M. Robinson, it is stated that, quote, the movement promotes the belief that same-sex attraction, or SSA, is a developmental gender identity disorder, that homosexual identity and behavior are inherently sinful and destructive to society, and that people with SSA can be reoriented to heterosexuality through religious and or psychological interventions, end quote. According to the UNCG articles, the ex-gay organizations and advocates look to, quote, legitimize potentially harmful therapies, uphold the criminalization of private homosexual sexual relations between consenting adults, prevent legal family recognition of same-sex couples, and advocate legislation that would prevent gays and lesbians from adopting children, serving as foster parents, or having access to medical technologies that would enable them to become parents, end quote. The ex-gay movement advocates for all of this, along with including sexual identity or sexual orientation, and with other hate crime acts. In the article, Living a Life of Crime, the ongoing criminalization of homosexuality within the Commonwealth, Paula Gerber talks about Commonwealth countries and the criminalization of homosexuality. A survey taken by the Pew Research Center reported that 85% of people in Pakistan and 88% of people in Malaysia believe homosexuality is unacceptable. In many Asian and African countries, homosexuality is still seen as a crime. Although there are many countries that do not accept same-sex relationships, there are some countries that have changed their laws or never had any in place to begin with. For example, the Bahamas decriminalized homosexuality in 1991. Rwanda and South Africa are two African countries that decriminalized homosexuality as well. In Europe, homosexuality is legal in all countries, including Cyprus, Malta, and the UK, where it was once illegal. Even though there are pros to the evolution of the LGBT community, there are still youths that are part of the community that still face discrimination every day. Statistics reported by the Massachusetts Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance reveals, quote, 45% of youth with a minority sexual orientation report having had their personal property stolen or deliberately damaged at school, compared to 29% of opposite sex only experienced adolescents. People of every age, ethnicity, race, class, and so on experience discrimination even to this day regarding homosexuality. Although some things have improved over time, there is still work to be done to gain equal rights and equal acceptance for every person, regardless of their age, gender, race, sexual orientation, class, etc. I believe in equal rights for all.